Hey y'all, what's going on? In today's episode, we were outside the studio and we got to speak with the Yungavelle. We had a really good conversation that I enjoyed and I hope you enjoy as well. And shout out to Roots Miami for let's record there. Enjoy.
All right, all
We're good to go,
right.
right?
Shout out to Roots Miami for providing
Yes,
the corner.
yes. Shout out to Roots Miami for giving the space for us to have an impromptu discussion
Yep.
that turned out us now recording.
Yes, sir. And I'll say it again. Shout out to Roots Miami.
One more time. Shout out to Roots. Thanks for the corner.
While we're in the corner next to the cashier. In front of a little TV.
Welcome to Deep Thoughts.
Yes.
Welcome on another installment. We had a wonderful conversation.
Talking about
yeah.
we talked about what, like hypnotherapy. We talked about generational trauma. We
Yep.
talked about a lot.
We talked about generational trauma. We talked about the power of the subconscious mind, manifestation,
Yes.
the programs that not a lot of people are aware of that are kind of driving their lives, and how important it is for people to start to be aware of that.
Yeah.
Y'all should have been here. The people listening to this should have been here.
It was so powerful that you guys decided to make an impromptu podcast. Just bring all the stuff out.
Today we have TJ, right?
Yes,
TJ
sir.
and-
Yungavelle, TJ the Yungavelle.
Yes, sir.
And we also have
Musician in the house.
Alicia.
Lachey.
Alashay. My
Yeah.
bad. I'm sorry. I was trying my hardest to remember, but
It's unique for sure.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yes, it was definitely a special moment, like it's just so funny because we've been having, it feels like in this environment, like Roots, for example, we seem to have a lot of these types of conversations, these types of quality conversations, and where people of like mind come together and build. Because we were literally talking for like 45 minutes
Yeah, no, definitely.
out of nowhere, and it all sparked with the Artist
The
Way.
Artist Way, man.
So tell me, why did you? First of all, do you do morning pages? And
100%.
what did you find benefit wise? Because I just been doing it for 5 days.
Yeah.
Put us on a little bit since you were the one that aligned that synchronicity.
Okay, all right. Well, I can only speak from my experience because I know for many different people it'll do different things. But for me at least, it definitely helped clear my mind, my mental space.
What are morning pages?
What are morning pages? Morning pages are that stream of consciousness that the second that daybreak, the second you wake up your eyes from that sleep that feels almost eternal. Because you know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole different realm.
Mm-hmm.
You wake up from that, come back to that wake of life, to this wake of life, and whatever comes up in your head, man, just grab that pen. Remember, your hands are directly connected to you, to your brain. You know what I'm saying? To that consciousness you have up here. And just writing down that consciousness, that stream of whatever. It can be anything. It can range from gibberish, you know what I'm saying? You just writing nothing, maybe the same words until that sentence starts to formulate.
Mm-hmm.
Where that real connection from conscious
Ideas start coming out.
Real, like whatever's up here, just get it out on paper.
Don't edit it, just let it come out.
No edits. You
Yeah.
don't have to erase, you don't have to do any of that. Just let it flow, because that's you. And you'll find that true connection, like that tether that almost feels invisible to us at first. It starts to formulate, starts to become more visible as you just build that connection, that stronger connection to yourself, to that true you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Morning pages are a dope strategy that I just recently came across in the book, The Artist Way. So a lot of people, I guess, in the successful sphere have mentioned this book, The Artist Way, and morning pages are a big tenet in the success of creative people, of millionaires or whatever. And the premise is 3 pages right when you wake up, but it really doesn't have to be 3 pages. Just get your thoughts out in the morning. And the idea is if you build that up enough, if you do that for a long enough time, you'll have easier and easier access to your creative side.
Yeah.
That's what piques my interest. It's like, what can I do to access my creativity easier? Especially being an artist. I feel like that's what gets me excited about it. Like, because you can go from finishing a song in 3 weeks to finishing a song in 3 days,
Yeah.
or 2 days, or 1 day, which is extremely beneficial, especially if we're trying to build connections. If I invite you to the studio and you take 3 weeks to finish a song as opposed to an hour or 2 hours, dude, that I want to work with this guy again. It just makes the cohesion that much better. So I had no idea that morning pages were such a powerful practice. But like I said, I've been doing it for 5 days, and I'm gonna keep on doing it every
and it's
day.
dope. It's dope because so J. Cole does it. He used to do it. That's what got him to the position that he's in now. He speaks
That's
about
fire.
it. And so for me, what I like about it most, and I forgot to mention this before, but it's that rawness, right? So what we do is as artists is we like to, the word isn't limit, but it's more like filter filter out ourselves when it comes to our writing. Like, okay, you know what, I like this bar, but maybe it's not me, or it doesn't feel right, or whatever the case may be. But when it comes to that practice of morning pages, it gets you more in tune with yourself. So whatever bar you write out, or that line that you write, it almost feels like it feels you. It feels like it came from you. Like it wasn't someone else's words, you know what I'm saying, that you delivered onto the paper, or that's coming out of your mouth. It's yours. And because it's yours, you have that real raw connection to it. And there's nothing holding you back from saying, nah, that doesn't feel right. You know what I'm saying? No, it's yours. It came from your consciousness.
Originality.
You feel me? Yeah, it's all original. Yeah, morning.
Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny how we have to sift through so much BS to get to our original selves?
But that's how we're conditioned nowadays, man. We have so much stuff in the way, so much like clutter, chatter even. It's hard for us to even share our opinions now because so many of us have opinions. And it's like, okay, if you say this and this person says that, there's automatically some sort of conflict.
So I have to filter how I present myself.
Now you gotta like tread, on thin lines and stuff, and watch what you say. But it shouldn't be like that. Like you should be able to express yourself, express how you feel, and somebody be able to say, okay, you know what, I understand that, and I feel like this. Now let's come to an understanding. And I feel like the more you know about who you are, the more likely you're able to stand your ground and not get so shaky when you start talking about, you start expressing you.
You know what's funny? Because when you're sharing thoughts with somebody and you don't want to filter things, that other person has to have a skill set where don't take things personal.
Yeah.
If I'm in a conversation with you and you start really telling me how you feel about me or about whatever, it would behoove me to not take whatever you're saying personal, so I can allow you the space to actually express your real self. And that brings me to the thoughts of people not being too versed in. There's this book called The Four Agreements. Have you heard of it?
The Four Agreements.
The Four Agreements. They're these basic tenets, like spiritual tenets. One of them is don't take things personal. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. And I forget the other one. Always do your best. Don't take things personal. Don't make assumptions. And be impeccable with your word.
Ooh, okay. Before you continue, man, it's been a while since I've read that book. So
exactly.
But yes.
So it's like if you have those basic understandings of interpersonal relations, that would make it so much easier when get that filter out of here. Say what you mean so we can really connect.
Yes.
Because dude, I'm not trying to be around someone that I gotta watch what I say all the time. I'm not really connecting with that person.
And then
you're not even being yourself.
Exactly.
You're not.
That's why I'll have two people in a room. One of them's my best friend and one of them's my other friend. That friend, the regular friend, I give him a handshake. All right, man, I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah. My best friend, I'm giving the finger. I'm saying, fuck you, man. I'll see you tomorrow. If you don't have to filter, that's that real connection, you know? So yeah.
I had a thought when you were speaking earlier about how like we nowadays try to see things like two-sided, like only two-sided, when there's one side and then there's the other side, and I feel like a lot of that has to do with us trying to put people in boxes. You know,
Yeah.
so like, oh, you're aligned with this thing, so you're a part of this group.
Yeah. Now it's all automatic labels.
Yeah.
We start attaching labels.
Yeah, and then but life is so much more complex than that. And
Yeah.
if we want to come to an understanding or even be more kind and more understanding of each other, we need to understand those things.
Yeah, you gotta get away from the tendency to label things, to label people, to label ideas, you know, because that compartmentalization, I mean, we can't help it because it's a part of our brain, to part of the left side logical brain, to put things in a box and say, this is this, so I understand it now because I can put a thing around it. We got to get away from that, because when we're talking about originality and ideas and that free flow of energy, dude, that's outside the lines.
All right. So let me add a little something to that. So I feel like there's definitely a place and a time for that right brain thinking, that feminine nature, where it's all about getting outside of that box and, like, you know, creating your own like reality or traversing the lanes on your own accord. But then there's also time for that left brain as well, where you kind of do need that, you know, rigor of just, okay, yo, this is the route that we take. This is the you know what I'm saying? This is the direct path to get you to point A to point B. Left brain is all about the planet. It's all on the discipline, how to get it from here to there. Right brain is, yo, I just want to get there and I don't care how I get there. You feel me? Like whatever I gotta do to get it. Like that creative nature. It's the balance of both sides.
It's like it's like the straight line to the spiral.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Without that yin yang, like that imbalance would hurt you more. You feel me? A world filled with
I have a question. Now, that balance is so important, right? Where do you guys think that society is right now in terms of the scale? Do you think it's a more left brain society, or are we in a right brain society predominantly? Where do we need to make the most corrections?
Yeah, that's deep. That's a deep thought.
That's the name of this podcast, isn't
That
it?
is deep thought.
And I feel like it depends where you are too. Like if you're in the U.S. versus like if you're in China, or if you're like in
Like the West versus the East, kind of.
that, and also like other countries like Central America or Latin America.
That's a good point.
People view things like for countries and cultures view things differently.
But even without, like, because you can do it right here, you can do it in your own backyard and still make that same, like, you know what I'm saying? So for an example, right now you're in a community that's, you know, very creative. You know what I'm saying? You look around, you see art, roots, you see music. Yeah, just the community itself. Even outside of roots, you see art, you know, music. You got a lot of people who's trying to really work on their passion. You feel me? But then right next door, you got, you know, people who are on the, okay, yo, I want to do this, that, you know what I'm saying? Like in this straight line. And I know I can only get there if I stay on this straight line. You feel me? So I would say, man, I honestly don't know. But because I'm on the path that I'm on, I'm starting to be around the energy of,
that's good. It's like no matter where society is, you have your own trajectory of your own internal masculine, left brain, right brain, which is masculine, feminine balance, regardless of what society is. Which I think that's important. I think that's important, not to be so influenceable by the society that you're around, like growing up.
You start to lose yourself.
Because a lot of the time, society don't got the answers, and they're doing shit like backwards, you know? Like, for example, it takes them 1,000 years to legalize something that is of clear benefit, you know? And society, like, that's wrong, you know? And we have a generation that raised us that is up under that premise of like, you shouldn't do that because it's legal and it's wrong, you know? So a lot of the times, society is kind of backwards, you know, trailing the people that are actually in it, that are like, you know what, I don't really care what society is doing right now. I know that this is fine. You know, I know that this is good. So it's cool that no matter what your society is, like no matter where it's at, you have your own trajectory, which is important. Like I said, society is a lot of times wrong.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
can be a part of society, but that doesn't mean not have like that individuality. You know what I'm saying? You still need that. We all do. That's what makes society run smooth. Like that's what makes it so good. That's what makes it a place where everybody can equally just be in, live in, and thrive.
For
Rather
sure.
than okay, you know what? I want everybody to think this one way and be the same. Now you start with indoctrinations where everybody has like the same mindset. You know what I'm saying? That's wrong.
That's toxic.
That's like bro. Okay,
That's like burning witches at the stake because they believe something different. They
Yes.
believe in nature. Like,
Yes.
what makes it so different?
I agree, man. I agree. It's the phone. We spoke about the phone before and how it kind of like it takes us away. We lose the sense of individuality because now it's about okay, what is this person doing? What's on the internet? So the first thing that happens, at least for me, when I get on Instagram, once a day, a couple times a day, I won't lie. I'll get on the website, I'll get on the app, and I'll see a whole bunch of like these ads, almost like geared to me. You know what I'm saying? For me, basically the app telling me who I am. Yo, you like this, so buy this. You know what I'm saying? Like what? No. But then you look at somebody else's phone and they have completely different ads. It's like a bubble almost. Like the world itself, this internet, this very smart, almost a living organism.
It reminds me of the Matrix.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And that's what I felt. That's what I felt it was when I started to realize, okay, yo, I'm basically being manipulated by life itself. Like everything around me
on all sides.
Yeah.
Damn.
At all times.
Damn.
What is that? Like
that's the goal of the companies, they have to make them
to be honest. I think initially I don't even think it was like that. Because for an example, you have this, this baby you're working on. Maybe it's a project. Maybe it's a let's keep it music for a little bit. Let's say I work on this EP, make it 6 songs, and I want the songs to be really hype and bump, give it some raw energy, a beautiful sound, and I bring it out. I let it out into the world. Now it becomes a EP that grows, and now people take it differently. Because remember, art is supposed to be
subjective.
Yes. So depending on the listener, they take it how they want to take it. So maybe this hype, excellent high energy music is used to, show this sense of like, I don't know, violence, for an example. So now, is that me? Is that how I wanted to give out like my art to the world? Is that what I wanted? I don't feel like the internet or even these apps, most of them are like that initially. I feel like it's just, okay, Facebook, let's connect people to each other. You have long, friends all the way over there that you haven't spoken to in ages. Why not connect with them and talk to them? But because they grow like a mind of its own, it grows a mind of its own. It starts to think like a human. Okay, bet. How do I connect people, but then keep on working on that algorithm and never stop? So eventually it becomes this like a toxic poison,
Well,
what I'm saying?
if you think about it, it's because it's like what he said. Those things, to us, we just see the secret, the surface of connect. But on the business side, they say, how do people like to connect? Likes, follows, stories, highlights, all these. It's like they're preying on our social insecurities, and it gets us addicted to that. If somebody likes my thing, I'm like, I need more of that.
Yeah.
So it's really smart for a business standpoint, because they know how humans work.
Yeah.
They know human psychology, and they put that in the algorithm. So then they just, here's your profile, you let it, and then it just.
So back to that, right?
It gives you what you want.
But initially, was it that?
Initially,
you feel me? Like, was it that
I think
in the
that was part
beginning,
of
in the
the
early
thought.
stage?
Well, initially they didn't know how they were gonna make money with it, And once they realize that they can use people's data to get advertised,
because now we're in a completely different world than we were in when all of this stuff was
10 years
first
ago.
coming out, right?
Yeah.
Before it was, I don't even think money was in the picture. It was just for an example, if we just use YouTube and or Facebook. Who's the creator? I forgot.
Tom of Facebook?
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg, right?
Yeah.
He just wanted to connect with his friends.
Yeah, like it was college campuses.
Like that's something that we would, if we were in that position, we would want that too. Oh my, I would like to talk to my friends here on the same campus.
But this is capitalism, you know. This is what happens in a free market enterprise with an idea.
Yeah.
You know, if it helps everybody, yes, like give you bread. You know, let everybody give you bread because you've now done a great thing for society where you've improved the quality of life of everyone. You know, that's capitalism. And that's why, but if capitalism is moved by greedy people, because with money comes, you know, power, the illusion of power. And with the free market, there's no regulation for that. So there could be only 3 people that are 10 millionaires, and then everybody else is the one that just benefits off the idea. So they're giving them the money. So that lopsidedness of power, that's the kind of dichotomy that we pay the price for under capitalism. And that's what people are waking up from now, where we're like, damn, this shit kind of looks a little bit unfair, but what can you do? Like the other social institutions like socialism and communism, they are proven to not really work. So like, what the hell do we do?
But I want to say one more thing about that before we. I feel like you're gonna.
I wasn't gonna switch. I was gonna go a little deeper.
Oh, go ahead.
But like in a different route. So, yeah. Do you feel like?
Wait, I want to know your point. What's your point?
I was gonna say we're basically in an experiment right now because social media is so new. Like to all humans, like we don't really know the ramifications. And it has, in some respects, it's been really beneficial because we can communicate with people from like across the world and connect with them, and you know, and we can find groups where we find meaning, or we can, you know, you can find a
common interest.
Yeah. But then there's other aspects where people can be addicted, or you can find groups and tribes where you're harming other people. So yeah, it's
like those little kids that are growing up with social media now. A lot of them grow up depressed, you know, because like their sense of worth and value is based off how many followers they have. We didn't have to grow up with that, but now they do, you know. And that's kind of, this is that experiment. Like we have no idea the ramifications of, and this is, technology moves so fast, but the human spirit and like that understanding of us as togetherness doesn't match that pace. Then you have things like that where the kids, let's keep in mind, this is new. There are no regulations for it. So these kids grow up depressed, and then they end up being, I don't know why I feel this way. I don't know why I'm depressed. I'm addicted to my phone, and I can't live 5 minutes without my phone. And they're addicted to instant gratification. Their brain chemistry grows up like that, and they never do anything with that left brain. You need to have periods of your life where you sustain discipline in order to get things done, because all the things that you do that are short-term gratification, that gratification is going to be gone in a second. So if you really want the gratification to last, you're going to have to do a sustained course of action that might not feel good all the time. You're going to have to stay the course. So it's training all these people out of that thing. And these kids are growing up not accomplishing shit, being very sensitive, being very finicky, very emotional, and have no sense of discipline.
Social skills too, because if you're always in front of a phone, like talking to people online, then when you're face to face, you might not be comfortable with being in those positions.
Absolutely. That's the caveat that we make with all this stuff being new. But I think that it goes back to that balance of left brain and right brain. When in terms of, it's good to social media is not bad because like it allows people to express themselves and connect and make groups and togetherness. But at the same time, we got to do that thing. Like, for example, going back to morning pages, don't look at your phone the first thing in the morning. Little kids got to do the same thing because we got to get used to me. What do I want? What do I like? It's like training everybody to be a robot, to be the same. Like people, the whole mass is walking like this, looking at the phone down like a robot.
Okay, hold on. Let me be the advocate for my deep brain, my deep analytical brain. Okay, so you know how we each and every single one of us, all of us, beings, human beings, we all have our own spiritual development, right? Our own spiritual growth. Some of us, we continue to grow. Some stop at a certain point until, oh, okay, whoa, there's a next step. Let me take that step and let me grow some more, right? So our growth is different, but every generation had a different growth. You know what I'm saying? Like a different process of growing spiritually. So don't forget, there was a period when the threats of war was always around the corner. So how did those kids grow up?
It's like what you were talking about with your generation having the war, the Great Depression, growing up through that.
Always, or even this was a couple.
Yes, the generational trauma thing. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Every generation has its thing. You're absolutely right.
Every generation.
It's just like the world has never seen a thing like social media. So we have no idea how that's gonna affect these kids' growth. You know what I'm saying? Because like back in the day, it was more technology was not there. People had that social. You had to go home. Everyone having family dinner. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna speak to your brothers and sisters. You're gonna speak to your mom. You know what I'm saying? It was different.
Everyone was.
It's like that isolation is growing now.
You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
We've never seen this amount of isolation before within a society from little kids, like from little ass kids that have an Instagram. There is babies that have millions of followers on Instagram. Imagine what it's gonna do to their social perception of themselves as they grow up and they go to kindergarten or they go to second grade and they got more followers than 85% of the world. What the hell? We've never seen anything like this before. So I think it's paramount that we start to figure out how we're going to navigate this fear, because it doesn't look like this fear is going anywhere. It looks like things are speeding up. So we got to figure out what are the proper ways to navigate this thing, or else our kids are going to be, we're going to leave them a very shitty world, you know?
True.
And I feel like with kids, a lot of it comes down to the parents, because nowadays it's a lot easier to just give your child like a screen and instead of actually parenting them.
Definitely.
The human to human interaction is very important.
Because if you have your own issues and you don't want to actually like sit there and be present with your child, you just give them a screen and you don't have to do anything.
Screens raising them instead of.
Don't get me wrong, I'm probably gonna do the same thing. My kids, here, watch fucking Blue's Clues, whatever the hell is the little shit for these days. Alexa, but
say something, do something.
It's not good though. Like I have one of my best friends, and he's like a spiritual confidant of mine. He's raising his son extremely well. Like he homeschools him. He's teaching him how to speak. He's gives him certain amounts of screen time, not first thing in the morning. He's doing everything you should do. Out in nature a lot. Takes him out to have interactions at the playground and stuff like that. And the craziest thing about that is that when they were having the baby, the mom she did spiritual ceremony. So she did ayahuasca. So that baby is so on point. Like he's speaking and learning letters. He knows his name and he's like 2. He's so smart. And he's doing it the right way, where to be honest, we can't really rely on these old systems to raise our kids like we once did. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna send my kid to school, man. Like, especially with the way the education system is now, I'm probably gonna homeschool my children because the way it's like a symptom of that society is going far, far, far. But I don't know if I like the direction that it's going in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna have to. That's what I'm saying. We're gonna have to learn how to navigate these fears because the world that we grew up in is not the same world. It's not, and we got to kind of figure it out as we go. Which goes back to our parents, for example. A lot of our parents, all of our parents, are just individuals, and to be honest, they were probably figuring it out as they went as well.
Yeah.
You know, so it goes back to what you were saying. Like, if they don't deal with their shit, they're just people as well. They're gonna give somebody a screen. You know what I'm saying? Our parents didn't do that, thank God.
Yeah.
You know, because there wasn't that option. But we're gonna have to learn to do things like, I'm not gonna take my kid to school. Like, I can't, because the Common Core, that system where you gotta fucking draw a fucking picture and put apples in the oranges to say what 2 + 2 is. Like, I don't got that kind of time.
Okay. So I remember we had a conversation about the split worlds, right?
Yeah. Separation of worlds.
Separation. Wouldn't that fall into the same onto the same plate where there's I guess the group of us that do take those, precautions and, raise our kids differently. Time away from technology, time out in nature. And then there's the ones who just, here's the iPad, the Xbox, whatever the case may be. That's still, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It's like, because if you think about it, society is like a big ass factory.
Yeah.
It's making people, spitting out the same kinds of people over and over. And when you take the other route, like we're talking, I gotta take my kid, I gotta figure it out, I gotta do my thing. It's like that other world is a world of free thinkers, which society kind of suppresses. It suppresses the free thinkers, and it gets everybody to be like robot. Go ahead, Hon.
Didn't that world always exist though?
Keep going. Keep
like
going.
You always had the parents who didn't really, maybe they did care, or they just didn't have the time, always working. But then you had the other side where the parent was always there, always, showing you the ropes.
Here's the thing though. I feel like we're reaching a nexus point.
Yeah.
Because status quo is killing the planet.
Mm-hmm.
We are making we can only be that way for so long until, dude, everybody's a robot. Nobody questions the status quo, and the status quo is raping and pillaging the world. So it can only be that way for so long until the system implodes on itself.
One more. So when you're in that realm of, all right, we're all the same, right? Bob looks like me, so I'm cool. I'm comfortable in this space. Do you know it? You know what I'm saying? Are you conscious enough to realize, oh wait, this is all the same. This is a matrix. I'm in the matrix. It's only when you become aware of that, you step outside of that bubble, you start to build your own sense of self, that you realize, oh, wait a minute, this has been happening all this time.
I think a lot of it, and I don't want to say a lot of it like I know shit, because I don't know shit, but I think a good amount of it is, what is your ability to accept the red pill? This is the matrix, right?
Yeah.
Neo, you have a choice. Status quo blue pill or red pill. Everything that you thought you knew is not probably it. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not cool with your whole idea of yourself being wrong and shattered, you probably not gonna take the red pill. So it's like, how comfortable are you with the truth?
Yeah. But if Neo never got that option, man, like he's stuck in that world. You feel me? You get what I'm saying? Like, I'll be honest, we're blessed enough. Like, we're in this sphere, in this space, because we each and every single one of us took that red pill. There's a lot of us outside who never got the chance, the opportunity. They're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel like it. They don't know how to get out. They don't know what the escape is. They've never gotten that.
Well, wouldn't you imagine that the ones that go before and figure it out do like this? Reach back and say, yo, guys, y'all have that blue pill. I'm telling you, the red pill is real, though. I'm telling you, reach back and lift them up. Lift them up. Of course, lift only those who are willing, but at least provide them the option. At least share the information. At least let them know that, yo, if you do this, this will help you. Look at what you're doing right now. Look at the world. You can't deny this for too much longer before shit really hits the fan. Shit is already hitting the fan. How much more in denial do you want to be until you say, okay, maybe something's not working here? Are you going to die? You're going to have to die and then see it from the other side? You know what I'm saying? Or why not see the ones that actually understand that, yo, shit's not working. Here are some solutions. Look at those solutions. Look at those pills. They might be against everything that you thought you knew, but they're probably a better option for the whole world. So it's like this big ass factory mindset that society or the West has. It's over for that. It's over. It's over. There's a new age, you know what I'm saying? Like society and civilization evolves in epochs and ages, and we are in the nexus of a new one. And the new one is free thinkers. It's almost like a renaissance again. It's like the spiral. Like, yeah, it's the same. It's different, but it's the same though, you know, because there was the Renaissance in Greece. There was the times of Egypt. There were civilizations before that that were radical in terms of their transformation on civilization. Yeah. We're at that point again because, dude, there's no other way. Like, we cannot keep burning fossil fuels. We cannot keep dumping plastic into the oceans and smuggling the biosphere. The time is now for people to reach back. Yo, we got to get on the new train. Like, you got to get over it, man. I'm sorry if my mom is upset that I like mushrooms, you know, or I am doing something that's against the societal construct. Yeah. You got to get over it. This is not the same world you grew up in. Look at what's happening. Look at what's happening. It's up to us, though, the people that have taken the red pill, to kind of usher in and be trailblazers for that new society, or else it's not going to happen.
Thank you for that, honestly.
Nah, this is deep thoughts. Yeah. Deep thoughts in the corner of Roots Miami.
Right in the corner, nowhere else. In the corner.
I wanted
Shout out to the Dolphins.
I wanted to ask you guys, so do you think getting to a space where you're able to be a free thinker, do you think the only way or the best way is to get there through self-work? Do you think it's the only way, or is the best?
I can answer that, or try to, at least in my own way. Self-work, self-work, for me at least, you can run in circles all day trying to, you know, fix yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can do that for ages, for years to come, and it'll never happen because you're already starting off on the wrong foot. You think you're broken. All right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are that great being. You've always been that. You've been maybe, you know, thinking wrong and a little, well, not, there's nothing wrong. There's no, you know, it's polarities. It's wrong, right, whatever. It's how you see it. But you've maybe been thinking in a pattern that's led you down the path that you're in now. But it's just as easy as, you know, just, okay, making this, like going over here instead.
Making an adjustment.
Yeah, making adjustments, changing the habits a little bit. And you'll find life bloom rather than, you know, like suffocate you, box you in. That broken mentality is what takes us to that dark underworld, is what puts us in hell. We're not broken. Those self-helps is just people giving you their way, like their guide to success, how they made it. But that way doesn't fit yours. You have your own. That's the spiritual like process. That is the journey. It's your journey.
Finding your own.
Yes.
I definitely agree with the point that we're not broken and it's just little adjustments. I do, however, think that the dark place has its place.
It does.
Because that's the part where life constricts us and we move through that constriction and it allows us to pop out on the other side a
you wouldn't
certain
have
way.
gotten that
Yeah,
growth
exactly.
without it.
Exactly. You need the mud. Like you need the mud. Like there's this Jordan Peterson does this great analogy about the dichotomy between Peter Pan and Captain Hook when it comes to the premise of choose your sacrifice or else your sacrifice will be thrusted upon you by life. So Peter Pan was under the premise that he didn't want to grow up. He always wanted to stay young forever, which means that he was able to be in that space of unlimited potential. I can be anything, but at the same time, you're not anything yet. You can be anything, but you're still not anything yet. So as a result, he stayed in Neverland. He was friends with the Lost Boys, and he never really found he gave up a real relationship with Wendy to be with imaginary Tinkerbell. So that was his premise of not growing up, essentially. And the whole idea of growing up is at some point you will become something. So, because he looks at Captain Hook and he sees the crocodile that bit Captain Hook's arm. It's a clicking crocodile, so it represents time. Time takes a piece of us as we grow up. So Peter Pan doesn't want that. I don't want to grow up. I don't want time to take away from me. But as a result, is all those other things of remaining in Neverland. So as you grow up, you're going to have to undergo some sort of constriction phase, some sort of dark night of whatever, dark night of the soul. You're going to have to go through that because, for example, you want a job or some sort of thing, some title. You have to go through training. You have to do a specific period of training, which goes back to that discipline, a period of long-term gratification where you're gonna suffer. You're gonna have that's just a premise of life. You gotta get over it. You're gonna suffer for a period of time, but when you come out on the other side, you still have that potential that you had when you were a kid. Because we have that, we could still be anything. At the same time, you are something now. So you are something, and you also have that unlimited potential, but it was only by going through that time of sacrifice. So it's like at some point, you cannot put off that dark phase. You cannot put off that development. You cannot put off that self-work. You have to work on yourself on some level in order to get there. The other thing is that life is going to throw it on you. And then you're not going to be able to choose your sacrifice. It's going to be thrusted upon you by life, and life is going to mold you. Choose your sacrifice. So I agree, we are not broken, but the dark place that's why it's the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Life, everybody is the hero of their own journey. And what would the journey be without some sort of obstacles? I know when I watch hero movies, I can relate because I'm like, dude, I'm a fucking hero. Like, yeah, that's me. Like, I'm going through shit right now. And then when I see them get on the other side and they accomplish the goal, I'm like, dude, it gets me emotional because it's like, I knew that I could do that. It almost feels like I did that, like I achieved that goal. So it's like, don't stray away from those challenges. That's why there's this great book by Ryan Holiday called The Obstacle is the Way. That's why I wanted to start this whole thing with lean into your vices. You lean into your vices, and that is the way. The obstacle is the way.
Ryan, do you follow Stoicism?
Yes, it's brilliant. Stoicism is brilliant. Yeah.
What was it called again?
The obstacle is the way.
I actually listened to his podcast.
Yo, shout out to 3K, the producer, man. Get your beats from him. 3-0.
3-3-3-3-K.
We got Keem Cooley here too.
King.
Yo, yeah,
But
man.
yeah, the obstacle is the way, man. It's because it adds character to your journey. It adds substance to your journey. It adds a story to be told. If that's why people can't relate to entitled people.
Sir.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody likes to be around an entitled person that didn't go through shit. And then they try to give you advice, bro. Get out my face.
Dude, it doesn't matter what you go through in life. It's the fact that you've gone through something that makes it relatable, because we're all going through something. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a beauty in that. There's a beauty in the struggle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm definitely with it, man. That's
So J. Cole said something.
yeah. Quoted by I quoted that from J. Cole. Yeah, there's a beauty in the struggle. But I mentioned that because there's 100 books like that, or even videos. And those videos are great. Those books are great for motivation, but not guides and rubrics to follow. Because somebody can give you like the guide to $1 million or to, a beautiful life, or whatever the case may be, whatever it is that you want. You can follow that to a T and not get anything from it, because that's not your journey.
That's right.
So, but yes, you're absolutely right. There is
I will
beautiful.
To back up off your point too. Success leaves clues, though. Certain things are, well, if this were like, for example, discipline. You cannot get away from discipline. Is a universal tenet to success most of the time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it goes to your point, like you can't lay down and say this 100% of the time is going to work 100% of the time for 100% of the people. Yeah. But there are basic tenets that work for a majority of the people.
Fundamentals.
Yes.
The fundamentals.
If I'm going to cross you up in basketball, I got to learn the fundamentals of a right to left dribble. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to be a multi-millionaire, I got to learn the fundamentals of financial discipline. I got to learn the fundamentals of money management. I got to learn the fundamentals of maybe sometimes credit, if you're in capitalism, you know what I'm saying? And music. What you got?
So MCs, man, like you gotta understand, like there's social impact is a category, technicality is a category, delivery is a category, stage presence is a category, and many of others. So we gotta figure out what those categories are, where we're slacking at, where the opportunities are, and where our strengths are, and take it from there and see how we build upon that. That's how Kendrick Lamar got to where he's at. He has a video from early in the days. You can see all those categories on his whiteboard. So yeah, man, that's the passion of the craft.
Tracking the fundamentals. That's why a lot of successful businesses have what are called KPIs. KPIs are called key performance indicators. Those things, the reason that these big ass businesses are so successful is because they track their key performance indicators. They track the fundamentals that got them there. If you want to be successful in whatever things, you have to be cognizant of these universal tenets like discipline and sacrifice and long-term gratification. Those are persistence. Yes, exactly. Persistence, originality, those things that are universal, like, be yourself. That's something that's a fundamental that the whole premise is success leaves clues. So there are baseline fundamentals. Does it work 100% of the time? Probably not, because this is life. But there are things that you could follow that are probably going to do you good to get you along the way. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to 3K for that 3-0.
You. Yes, sir. Got something on your mind, my brother? Deep thoughts. Lay it down. I see you thinking, contemplating over there.
Well, I mean, I just go off with what TJ said about like, for example, the what was it, Vices?
Yeah.
Going after your vices.
Oh yeah.
And that book,
Obstacle is the way.
Obstacle is the way. And I would say, if you were saying, Bernard was saying that it's important to not get lost in somebody else's way of thinking, which I think is very true. And also we have, because you can't treat something like a religion in a way. You can't like somebody's book or ideas like a religion, because then
The whole thing of question everything.
question everything. You have to figure out what works for you and what's best for you.
Yeah.
And also you can learn a lot too from reading reading books like that. And also I feel like if you try, you can learn from anyone. Like,
Here's the thing about
anyone's life
that, about
experience.
like listening to other people's experiences. You can avoid mistakes
Yeah.
by learning from other people. So you don't got to go through that.
Yeah.
That's the benefit of reading and the benefit of incorporating other people's information. Don't take it as your own gospel truth.
Yeah.
But if someone says, yo, the fire is hot, if I burn myself, don't be like, I don't know about that. I got to figure it out myself. And then stick your finger in the fire.
The morals of the story that the person's telling. So
Exactly.
if you listen closely enough, you'll be able to understand the premise and the lesson that is in the story.
Without having to live through the lesson.
When someone's talking, like, oh, they're just telling me a story, and when you're the other, no, there's a lesson in it.
Definitely.
That
You guys
you can
ever
take home.
been reading and you read something that the author says and you're like, what the fuck?
Hell yeah.
What I noticed.
That's one of the
too-
best feelings in the world, where you read something and then you just go into thought. That's one of the best feelings.
I circle the whole paragraph, the whole page. I'm like,
because you have your own like individual life, right? Your own perspective. on
Love
it.
that.
You can read anything. You can read a book. You can watch a video on health
Yeah.
or whatever the case may be, and pull away the ideas and
You have your own aha moments.
because it relates to you.
Right.
Because something that may grab you in a video may not grab the next person because
People
they're
are-
not dealing with that. You know what I'm saying?
They're understanding from
Yeah.
different levels of consciousness.
Yes.
Definitely.
You can read the same book 5 different times,
Five
throughout
different
the
people.
throughout the course of 1 year. 1 year. And in different stages of that year, you'll pick up different things from that book.
Definitely. Definitely.
Being mindful that information could also be wrong.
True.
You know what I mean? So being wary of that, especially in today's society where information is so easily accessible and digestible, you have to find multiple perspectives on certain concepts and subjects so you can find your own, or take a step back, especially if it's something that you're applying and it's not working. Change is needed, not waiting for something to start working. You know what I'm saying? So it should feel great and natural to and true to you as a human and how you operate and what matters to you as far as morals and values. Should always also keep that in mind as well when we're learning and building.
I think we're speaking on the pursuit of knowledge and like the pursuit of knowledge, of new information, like question everything. Don't just take one piece of information, look at other, cross-reference, make your own things, those aha moments. Because dude, like what you said, when I find something that speaks to me in a book and I'm like, oh my God, bro, that's one of the best feelings. That's why I got addicted to reading.
Yeah.
Because like being put on to something is probably one of the best shits ever. You want to tell everybody like it's a brand new idea. Everybody, people already know, but to you, you're like, dude, I gotta scream this from the fucking top because it's one of the best feelings to discover something new. That's like one of the greatest tenets of life, the pursuit of knowledge and your own original perceptions and opinions on that things, because what you might feel about that thing, people might not have thought about before. And that's the beauty of like piggybacking off of each other. You know what I'm saying? That's why we sat and we had this dialogue. It started from a book that I laid down on the thing, and now we're having a podcast. That's the benefit of piggybacking with each other and co-mingling and honestly being connected, being part of the same organism, the same one, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, exactly. The same collective consciousness. This is why the problem, going back to, we've never seen this amount of isolation. It takes what we're doing now to break that up. It takes these moments of collective consciousness on relevant topics, because I'm having new ideas just talking to you guys. Like, there have been many times in this conversation where I was like, damn, that was dope. Like that was dope. Like that was ill.
Also, like, having a loving environment that is non-judgmental, so people can express and be themselves without the judgment.
Definitely. That's huge.
Very important because everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and we're no one in shape or form entitled to impose our opinion on somebody else or judge them based on who they are and how they see life. You know, we always have to remember only God can judge us. You know?
Yeah.
And that goes for yourself as well as how you operate throughout the world, because then that just eliminates a lot of insecurities and helps you live your truest life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we spoke about that earlier.
Yeah.
The more you start to filter out who you truly are as a person, you find yourself not knowing who you are. You lose that. You lose that sense of self. Yeah.
Mhm.
You just become what everybody else wants you to be. And yeah, yes.
It's like that right brain too, you know, like there's no right or wrong way to color.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that. You want to put a blue thing there, put it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no wrong. So who are you to judge and put that constriction on some sort on life, you know, and on information and stuff like that. And then when you leave the space open, it just grows and compounds. You know what I'm saying? Me and her just came here. You know, it was just us two, and now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a circle right now, having an expansive dialogue. You know what I'm saying? If we would have had these judgments about you guys, this would have not even crossed the mind. You know, we would have blocked this possibility. That's what you don't experience when you isolate. You lose out on possibility, and life is unlimited. So it's very important to remain open, like 3K said, when you're dealing with people, and especially when you're dealing with yourself. Don't shit on yourself. Don't have these negative opinions about yourself. That's why self-talk is very important. You have to have positive self-talk if you're gonna have a good self-image about yourself. That's why all this bullshit about like, oh, I gotta fix myself. Like you were saying, I'm not good enough. It goes back to that programming that we've been brought up to think we're not enough, that the generational programmings that we may inherit through our DNA, dude, that's bullshit. You got to get out of that mindset, and you got to start to develop the habit of positive self-talk. Because once you have that positive self-image, that's what leaves the door open to better possibilities, because you're open.
See, I love that you say that, and I love, you know, I love to leave on this point. On one thing, I love to find solutions to these issues, right? And one of them has been for Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich for me, and the workbook.
Great
Not
book.
necessarily the book, but the workbook, because it puts all these ideas and concepts down about what other people may have and what people may impose on you and vice versa, and all these perceptions, and it rebuilds your self-talk. You know, it shows you how to have that self-talk that's conducive to living the best life that you can and getting to where you want to be as soon as possible. And but that's definitely highly recommended. Shout out to Cash, ATL, Atlanta Winter Circle Publishing for throwing that gym on the board. Appreciate you. Yeah, man. But y'all have a great one, man. Great talking to you. Man. I'm stepping out real quick.
Yeah. Thank you, 3K, for pulling
3K.
up. 3. All right, we'll take care. I wanted to add the one thing that came up, and it was a recent thought that I had like a couple weeks ago, and it was like, and it was basically on but not to judge anyone, and that we're all human we're all human at the same time. And the thought was that came to that conclusion was like, if I had the same genetic code as like if I had the same DNA as them and I went through the same life experiences, I'd be in the same position that they were.
Mhm.
And that thought alone, like that helped me in terms of like not getting mad at people, or even like understanding trauma, like in terms of like if you have any issues with like your parents or any family members, it makes you put things in perspective, because they themselves dealt with the issue that caused them to act the way they act. And that
when you heal yourself truly, you
Yeah.
heal those that came before you.
And you don't know what they've been through.
Connect.
Yeah,
You don't know what they've been through. They're individuals just like you. If they went through all the stuff that you went through, they'd probably be like you.
Yep.
And vice versa.
Yep.
That's
And
a good way
and
to
the
frame
thought
it.
I had was, and you can't like you can't force anyone to change, because a lot, well, I came up with a lot of reasons to not force anyone to change, but you have to love them, and you have to understand that they are the way they are because of their own traumas. And I also had another thought on that, which was trying to force someone to change is like selfish in a way, because it makes you
Like you're right.
yeah,
They're trying to make
yeah.
you
Yeah.
be something that they want you to be, instead of allowing what you should be and what God intended you to be.
Yeah.
Itself. And an external force is trying to force you to manipulate what they think you should be.
Yeah.
Which is not what maybe God intended.
Yeah, exactly.
For that individual to be.
You
So
may
you're
be
right,
wrong.
it is
Yeah.
selfish.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I wanted to add on.
I love that. That's a great point.
Yeah, then anything else y'all want to talk about? Or we're at an hour, actually, an hour and 45 seconds.
Yo, my name's the Yungavelle. That's Yungavelle. Shameless plug here in the corner of Roots, Miami, baby.
You got a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, I do. I got a YouTube channel where I talk about stuff just like this. My main premise is semen retention and how it is extremely, extremely beneficial for guys to practice. And no porn. Yeah, no porn is the basic. No FAP, which is no masturbation, and no porn because it's extremely addicting and it really messes up your brain chemistry. And retention on how when you don't release the seed, your physiology literally changes. And people all of a sudden are like, yo, what is up with you? Like, why do you feel different to be around? And me as someone, like, I don't really tell unless people are asking or unless I'm really close with them. It's retention. It's flowing up the life force of a man, which is semen. You float up because after a certain while, your body absorbs it again. And all those nutrients, the testosterone goes up 154% after 7 days. But a lot of guys have not gone 7 days even without releasing, dude. 7 days is extremely hard. Don't get me wrong, but it is worth it. It goes right back to that premise of long-term gratification. Short-term gratification is that I release, and then you feel the orgasm so good when you're in it, but guess what? It's gone. Just now, I just said it. Me saying, "Oh, I'm happy," it's happening, and now it's gone. Just like that, it's gone. Whereas retention, when you retain the benefits, because here's what's happening. The discipline that you're using to fight the urge, you start to not only employ that in your sexual life, you employ that in all aspects of your life. So that discipline starts to trickle out into your finances, into your ideas, into your health, into your social relationships, into your goals. So you start achieving things that were once difficult for you to achieve. And then there's this miraculous thing that happens. I don't know what it is, but I think it's life responding to you taking that hard choice and manifesting that best part of yourself. You start getting greater opportunities that come to you, almost like magic. And I'm not the only one that is saying this. Like, everybody that's practicing retention is saying, yo, after a certain while, my days just start getting better. Your mood changes, your brain fog goes away, you're probably going to be the most felt in a room, and you could not even say one word. Just be quiet, and you will be the most felt one in the room because of testosterone. It's just emanating out of you. Very important, though, that you transmute that energy. You have to do stuff, which is why all those other things start to blossom. It's like the lowest thing that a man can do, or lowest in terms of easiest thing that a man can do with the semen, bust it off in a girl. But it's so powerful that life comes from it. So if you don't do that, your little endeavors become your little babies. And the energy that you once gave to orgasm, you start putting that energy into your creations, and they start growing up. Your finances, your goals, your health, your body, they start growing. Those are your children now. Well, not now, but like they're just like that. These are non-physical creations, funded and fueled by the same energy, because your sexual energy is your creative energy.
Yes, sir.
Same thing. So yeah, that's what I talk about on my channel. So definitely tap in, like, comment, subscribe, all that.
Y'all better do it too, cause I agree with what he said, man. I practice, man. I better do it.
I'll put the link for it in the descriptions for that.
Oh yeah, that'd be great, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of people benefit from just retaining, man. It changes you.
Help change the world.
Yeah, because porn is
Toxic.
horrible.
That's the worst, bro.
Horrible.
That's the worst,
horrible.
man.
And so many guys are afflicted by it, and it is a large
Actually destroys many relationships.
relationship.
Ooh. And it's the fact that I mean, everybody has their own life, but the fact that a lot of people will go out of their way to defend it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Glorify it as
yeah,
well.
like, nah. Porn doesn't do that to me. Like, bro,
what on a bike that had a Pornhub sticker on it.
What you mean? Yeah, like, what do you mean? There's clearly, it messes with you. Back to the gratification, the instant gratification, dude. You lose that. You lose that.
It
Now
lowers,
you want, like
yes,
you're
it
always
lowers
looking
your
for the
dopamine threshold. It literally makes your days more shitty. The more that you bust off, the lower your dopamine threshold goes. Meaning, dopamine is if you guys know brain chemistry, I'm sure everybody knows dopamine. That's the part where you feel good.
Yeah.
When people do ecstasy and MDMA and stuff, that their brain is getting flooded with dopamine. When you orgasm, your brain is getting flooded with dopamine. That's why you black out and feel good. But if you consistently do that over time, your brain receptors are going to start going like this, covering up. So you're going to be less and less sensitive. So you're going to need more and more of said stimulus to feel something. That's why addiction happens and people are depressed. Then when you don't do that, you actually give your brain time to rewire. They say like it might need like 30 to 60 to 90 days, really 90. If you can do 90 days, no fat retention, your brain has the ability to rewire itself from all that negative short-term gratification programming. Because at the end of the day, what you're fighting is brain chemistry. And the more that you give into your cravings, your vices, the more difficult it will be for you to overcome them. But the longer you fight, the more that your brain starts to be like, all right, fuck it, I guess I can't win. Urges come less and less. Don't get me wrong, it's tough. You'll still feel urges. But they become less and less. And they're not going to be nowhere near if you were busting off each day. And your days get better because your dopamine threshold eases out. So you can get a dopamine rush off of a nice cloud in the sky, off of a nice smile from someone, instead of not feeling shit and only getting dopamine when someone messages you new on Instagram or you watch porn. You know what I'm saying? So it is the benefits of retention. I will sing to the moon forever, even after this life. I'll talk about it like, yo, when I was a human and I figured out retention, dude, that shit was hard. Yo, I liked it. I liked it a lot. If you incarnate, make sure to do that. Yeah.
Oh, this was a dope podcast.
It was really good, really insightful conversation.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank y'all for being here.
Thank you guys for hosting it. Shout out to the Deep Thoughts podcast, y'all. Y'all are doing it. This is amazing.
Well, all right, we're out, y'all. We are, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Take care.
Any more plugins?
Anything else? Anything else?
Yo, follow me on IG, even though stuff doesn't matter, but it's still the Yungavelle. You heard?
Follow me. I don't care, but do it if you want.
New music. I got my new project, my new track, Lone Star's coming out Monday.
Yes, sir.
I'm so excited about that. A lot of people have been asking about it, so it's finally recorded and it's out. It's gonna be out on Monday, so let's keep on progressing, man. Self-development is the key. That's the real key to happiness, developing yourself.
I mean, they say if you're not growing, you're dying. Something like that. I don't know.
You got it. Something like that.
Hey.